thank you for the warm reception. I really appreciate it. It feels like this is sort of an annual rite now. I think this is my third time as mayor addressing you, and it's always great to come back and see just how well the facilities are run, just how happy everybody is. It's really an institution to be proud of, and I think all of you who work here or who support the institution should see it as that. It really is a success, and it's a pleasure of mine just to come here every year to say a few words and catch you up on what's going on in the city. This, by the way, this microphone does not project any sound. It's actually for cable TV. So just so if you're really struggling to listen up and wondering why I should get closer, why I shouldn't get closer to the microphone, that's the reason why. But in any event, I also just want to say I'm glad that you have the flag prominently displayed. This is the 70th anniversary of the Allied invasion of France and D-Day. And I'm just wondering, is there anybody here who remembers that day? It probably is. A couple of folks in the room. I don't know. In any case, there's probably few people here who do remember it, but a very proud day and an important day for the United States. Things are in the city. What we're trying to do, I think, has been pretty well publicized in the paper and other media outlets. We've been working very hard to improve the quality of life in the city, and we do that by focusing on the city's assets. We've all heard over the years that New Bedford has tremendous potential, right? We've all said it ourselves. We've all heard people say, boy, if only New Bedford could pull it all together. It's got such potential. We've heard that over and over again. I've said it, you've said it. And what we're trying to do is realize that potential. I feel like I'm tired of hearing that and tired of people feeling like it's not being acted on. So we're acting on it. And when we talk about potential, it has to do with the waterfront and the downtown and the coastline in general, the beautiful architecture in the city, the beautiful parks. These are all things, and our biggest strength, the people of the city itself. So we're really trying to focus hard on those strengths and build on them. So one of the main things that I'm trying to do is focus on building up our port. New Bedford has one of the most important ports in America. We're the largest commercial fishing port in the country. We are the birthplace, we hope soon, of the American offshore wind industry. We're a growing cargo port. We're one of the most prominent recreational boating destinations in the country, although that's not as heralded as much of the other stuff that we have going on in the harbor. So we're trying to build that up. So we're working on, with the state, on building this brand new marine commerce terminal in the south end, the so-called South Terminal project, which is about 75% complete right now. This is going to be the first purpose-built facility for offshore wind components in the United States. We're going to be hosting the Cape Wind project, the first offshore wind farm in America. Europe has been in offshore wind for about 20 years, and what we're trying to do is be the first place where it happens in the U.S. because the sky's the limit, potentially. I've been to Europe. I took a trade delegation there a few years ago where we saw some of the European ports that are much like New Bedford that have succeeded in building themselves up as a result of investment in offshore wind. These are places that, like Cuxhaven and Bremerhaven, Germany, for instance, ports that had 25% unemployment rates within the last 10 years, and they have brought that down to single digits in the last few years because of all the investment in offshore wind. We're looking to do the same thing here. So we're focusing on our harbor assets, the port facilities, the rail access, our highway connections to the waterfront, dredging in our harbor, all these things that make ports go, we believe can pay great dividends to our city in the long run. I also strongly believe that one of our biggest assets is our downtown and the cultural district there and the city's history, its story. When we think about when you bring people to the area and they want to check out things, almost invariably, and if you ask somebody, where do you bring your friends from out of town, almost invariably it's to the Whaling Museum, to the Historic District, to the waterfront, maybe down to Fort Tabor. These are all huge assets, and we want to really make them look great. So we're spending a lot of time investing in the downtown. You saw probably since we last spoke, we built out the Custom House Square Park, which looks fantastic. This was an asphalt parking lot that we turned into a real gem of an urban park right in the middle of our downtown, because our downtown needed a central gathering space, kind of like Post Office Square in Boston or Bryant Park in New York City. We needed something like that, and now we have it, and it's top notch. We have. I was able to get a friend, a New Bedford native, Chris Reed, who has become, over the years, one of the top urban landscape architects in America, to come back and design this park. He's done designs. He designed the landscape around the Clinton Library in Little Rock, Arkansas, and a number of buildings around Harvard, and buildings or landscaping for some of the royal families in the Middle East. And I asked him to come back and do one for New Bedford. And then I asked him, would you do it for free? And he said, sure, for New Bedford, I will. So we have this great park now. We're building out more cobblestone streets in the downtown. We just finished cobblestoning the lower part of Union Street and blowing out the sidewalks with nice wide brick sidewalks now. You're going to see all sorts of cafe seating there this summer. You're going to see connections to the waterfront, especially in the next few weeks when the Charles W. Morgan returns to the city, which is going to be a huge event. I encourage everybody to come down between June 28th and July 9th to see the ship. The ship left 70 years ago. It's the oldest whaling vessel in the world, or the only whaling vessel in the world, the oldest merchant ship in the world. And it was built here in New Bedford and sailed from New Bedford for almost a century. It's coming back for the first time in nearly 75 years, and it's going to be a huge event. We expect about 5,000 visitors a day when it's here in port. You will see in the next few weeks much more landscaping around Route 18. Route 18 looks good. We want to make it look great because, again, it's the look of the built environment in the city matters a lot. If people want to be in these places, in these public spaces, then people will tend to spend more time there. They'll want to live in the city. They'll want to invest in the city. They want to raise their kids in the city. So the look of the place matters, just as the look of this place matters. You guys do a fantastic job keeping it sharp. That's why people feel comfortable here. It's also true of public spaces as well. So this is something that hasn't been emphasized in the city in a long time. I believe it's critical for us to do that in order to be a city in which people want to live in. The other thing that we're trying to drive really hard is improvements in human capital, if you will. We want to unlock the potential of everybody in our city, especially our kids. So we are spending an awful lot of time reforming our school system. Our school system is key to our success in the long run, and it hasn't performed well in some time. It's taken a while for our schools to reach where they are, which is near the bottom of the state in terms of every metric there is, MCAS scores and dropout rates and so forth. We've gone about the hard business of reforming the school system by changing out the leadership, bringing in proven leadership, and making reforms across the board in the way we instruct kids, the way that we interact with parents, the way that what we invest in, where money is spent, and so forth. And that's a work in progress now, and we're having some growing pains, but we're starting to get our feet underneath us. People are starting to get on the same page about what kids are required to learn, what's expected of everybody in the school system. For the first time in a long time, teachers are actually evaluated in a meaningful way. We have a new crop of principals that are coming in, first set last year, now another set coming in this coming year. So things are starting to awaken. The central office is being reformed. There's reform across the board. It's going to take a little while to turn around, but things are starting to come together. Our high school in particular has to be has to regain its status as the flagship high school in southeastern Mass, and I'm determined to make it so again. We're about to launch a whole new set of curricula there in which kids will have an opportunity to choose different areas of study, and there will be learning for all there. The top kids, the high-achieving kids, will have an opportunity to go into an honors track that leads into advanced placement. We want our kids to continue at New Bedford High to matriculate to the top colleges in America. But we also want everybody to be learning there, to be career ready and college ready when they leave the high school. And so that's falling into place now. We have a whole new administrative team coming in to ensure that the school is safe and secure and that kids are engaged in learning. That's more than anything else that we're doing. I'm determined to make that happen. And so we've made some tough decisions and we've fought some battles along the way, but we're sticking with it because our kids get one shot at a good education and we can't let them down. That's the way I see it. And overall, what we're trying to do in the city is make the city feel good about itself. Externally, we want people to take New Bedford seriously again. I'm leaving here, and I have this morning, I have two meetings. First is with Steve Grossman, who could be our next governor. He's in my office, and I'm going to be saying the same thing to him. New Bedford is a real metropolitan. Greater New Bedford is a real metropolitan area. We have one of the top ports in America. This is a place that was famous once and is awakening now. And to cite the example, so people, and let me just say, my next meeting this morning is with one of the columnists at the Boston Globe, and I'll be selling the same thing to him. The point I'm trying to make with everybody outside the city is that New Bedford is poised for great success. We have now, we're about to become, again, the birthplace of offshore wind in America, this brand new industry. We're still the top fishing port in America. We have one of the highest per capita percentages of artists living in our city, of any city in America. Few people know that, and I'm going to scream that fact from the mountaintops until people get it, because I think it's important, an important part of our story. We were profiled about a week ago in the Wall Street Journal as being the city that derives the second highest amount of electricity from solar of any city in the United States, except for Honolulu, and they get a lot more sun than we do. But New Bedford. What I'm trying to do is to get New Bedford to be seen seriously, for New Bedford to be seen as a leader, not as a city that's trying to follow others. Because I think, again, I, like you, see the potential in the place, and we have to double down on our strengths so that we can realize our potential in the long run. So that's what we're up to, and it takes a team effort, and I appreciate everybody's support along the way. I think the future looks really bright for New Bedford. We've all got to work together to make it happen. So thanks for having me today. I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have. I know that the omelet bar awaits, so I will try to get right to the point. I know you always have a question for me when I'm here. Not today? You can eat your omelet, you know. Oh, thank you. You can eat. Please eat. If you have an omelet in front of you, please don't let it go cold, all right? I won't mind it. I won't mind if I hear a clinking of plates with forks or anything like that. Anybody?
Yeah, I would just like to publicly recognize CNA Week. Our CNAs get the least amount of recognition here, actually in general in healthcare, and they're at the bedside with the residents. So in honor of CNA Week, we have a few CNAs here.
Yeah.
I would like to thank them very much.
Yeah, let's have a hand. All right.
Would you like your food now?
I will wait behind everybody else who was near the head of the line, and then they were told to return to their seats. So they get first steps. All right, well, listen, thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you having me today. Thank you.